So very disappointed with today's announcement because not one single illegal gun will be taken off the streets by Mendicino's announcement today, and yet our country is facing serious public safety issues under his leadership and Justin Trudeau's leadership. Canada is facing a 32% increase of violent crime, 32% since Justin Trudeau became the Prime Minister. We are seeing 10 police officers were killed this year, 8 of them on the job, notably many from repeat violent offenders from the catch and release bail system that Justin Trudeau brought in a few years ago. We are seeing people being stabbed on public transit. Recently in Surrey, an attempted murder happened. The man who did that, who stabbed that individual on public transit, is back out on the streets 8 days later on bail. Today's announcement will do nothing to keep Canadians safe in those regards, nothing to keep our police officers safe, and nothing to clean up the streets in Toronto, where gangsters can get an illegal firearm under 2 hours because of the Liberal Prime Minister's porous border. So we're very disappointed that the state of Canada is seeing significant public safety issues with gangsters getting their hands on illegal firearms, smuggling them in from the United States. And today we're hearing tens of millions of dollars. Actually, he's being pretty cagey, conveniently, about how much it's going to cost. But we know tens of millions of dollars at minimum will be spent on this when our police are being starved of resources and criminals are running rampant on our streets. So very disappointing in that regard. And as you have heard, again, a 32% rise of violent crime. This will have no impact whatsoever on this. And this is just a step one of many steps of the Liberals and their confiscation regime that we know will cost billions of dollars and target law-abiding hunters, farmers, and sport shooters. So the Liberals are selling this, that they've consulted and they're coming back with new ideas. That is not true. They're bringing back the same definition that they pulled just a few weeks ago. That is what's happening here. They're talking about some sort of the list that they're not bringing back. That is also untrue. The list is encompassed in that definition. Let's just be very clear about that. So they're using weasel words. Nothing has changed. The attack on hunters is resuming in full force. This is round 2 that the Liberals are launching their largest attack on hunting rifles and hunters, farmers, and Indigenous Canadians in Canadian history. That's what we're seeing today.
Le fait que l'association des gens qui s'occupent des armes et des munitions participe à ça, est-ce que c'est pas un exemple de bonne volonté du gouvernement d'inclure ceux qui font du tir sportif dans la situation?
Do you mind if I respond in English? Is that okay? I find it to be cruel irony that the Liberal government, who has starved these mom-and-pop gun shops of resources with 3 successive gun bans, now is throwing them a bone of taxpayer dollars to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, and it will do nothing for the illegal guns that are the real problem on the streets. So it's a lot of cruel irony there, but it's understandable. I don't believe that support is made willingly. It is under duress. These gun shops are being starved of resources because of the Liberal government. So for them to say that they have willing support is not true. This is being made under duress. These folks have no other option. They're being put out of business because of the Liberal government.
Have you seen the new definition? You just said you know what's in the new definition. So what's been
very clear is that the Liberals and the NDP and the Bloc are working together. They're talking about the definition that's very popular with the anti-gun groups, and that's the one that they had that they recently pulled. So my understanding is they're bringing back that same definition once again, which again, even if there's no list written, they're being very, very clever about this. Those guns are encompassed in that definition, so there's no list that the public will be able to scrutinize, but those guns and thousands of other ones that hunters commonly use, that farmers commonly use, are going to be encompassed by the definition that they're bringing back. So I'll allow them to tell Canadians what the definition is, but my understanding is going to be very similar, if not the same, as the one that they just pulled. So again, round 2 of the same issue we faced just a few months ago.
Isn't this a bit of a positive, I know you disagree with the policy, but is this not a bit of a positive step in that if these store owners are forced to simply have this inventory put in cases and they can't make any money off of it, isn't then incumbent on the government to offer compensation? Like, offering compensation in this case seems better than forcing them to just have it sitting in cases that unable to sell that inventory.
Again, this support is being made under duress. They're not being given any other option. As you've outlined, they're being starved of revenue by successive bans in very short amount of time. This is the 3rd one that they're working on in 3 years. What do you think that does to a very small firearm shop? It's ending. there are shops closing across the country. So I understand why they're supportive of this to some degree, but it's being made under duress. And what's very frustrating is those firearms under lock and key in firearm shops. This is not impacting the gangsters in Toronto that are killing police officers and innocent Canadians. This is not impacting the real problem at all, and yet it's costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars, not to mention significant police resources. This is just step one of the confiscation regime. We know that Mendocino is looking to work with police to institute his confiscation regime of individual private property. That is going to drain further police resources from fighting violent crime. That's actually the cause of gun violence. And in fact, if you see Stats Canada, less than half of 1% of all violent crime, which has gone up 32%, less than half of 1% is committed with long guns. And the crime that is committed with firearms in this country, the vast majority of that is committed by criminals who aren't allowed to own firearms. They are prohibited from owning firearms. So anything that's going after gun shops and law-abiding citizens who own private property lawfully that are trained, tested, and vetted by police is not going to have any impact on public safety. So Canadians who are looking to Justin Trudeau and Minister Mendocino to improve public safety and stop the murder of police officers and innocent Canadians on the buses, on the streets, today they will be significantly let down because it's just going to cost them a lot of money and do absolutely nothing to solve the problem.